Allow your day to settle behind you. Let this moment belong entirely to you, quiet and still. You found your way here, to this gentle tale set in medieval England, guided by the slow footsteps of a bailiff across dew-kissed fields and thatched-roof hamlets. I'll walk beside him, and I'll walk beside you too. Together, we'll wander through sunrise's tender embrace and discover peace in each simple ritual. Imagine the hush of a pre-dawn morning. The world is waiting, neither here nor there, somewhere between dreaming and waking. You are welcome to release tension. Drop your shoulders, soften your brow, let your thoughts drift away. Breathe in and exhale. You're safe. You're permitted to let go. My name doesn't matter. I am your guide for this evening, a soft voice to accompany the unfolding narrative. You may simply think of me as a companion, a gentle presence, inviting you to travel through time through hushed corridors of stone, across fields painted in mist, into the roots of ancient elm trees. As we begin, focus on the steady rhythm of your breath. In, out. The world outside these sounds may still vibrate with energy, but here we cultivate calm. We carry intention to ease, to rest, to prepare for sleep. Your eyes may feel heavy already. That is good. This journey is precisely to lull the mind and body, to cradle you toward rest. Picture a medieval manor perched on a gentle hill. Stone walls, wooden beams, moss-laden thatch. Around you, cottages, humble homes with glowing hearths, waiting for the first stir of life. But now these remain still. The day yet awaits its breath. We will follow our bailiff, a caretaker, a watcher over fields and hearths. He has no thunderous tasks, no courtly drama. His work is measured in kind, checking horses, tending flocks, greeting the dawn like an old friend. There is purpose here, but no hurry, no noise. This is a deliberate, slow-moving world, just as your body should feel in this moment. As you listen, you may sense the faintest awareness, an itch, a word, a fleeting plan. That's okay. Acknowledge it gently, like regard for a stray bird, then let it float away. Return your attention to your breath and my voice. Soon, you will hear the distant whistle of the bailiff's lantern, the murmur of animals stirring, the first song of blackbirds perched on hedgerows. Each sound is intentional. We make space for them and invite deeper stillness in response. Weeping into his daily circuit, the bailiff pauses under an ancient elm, eats his bread slowly, sips water from a flask. Each moment unfolds softly, like petals opening at dawn. This is not a story of conquest or conflict. It's a lullaby of place and purpose, of earth and sky, attention paid to the smallest kindnesses. And you, yes, you are invited to receive these moments with open arms. You might close your eyes now, or drift between seeing and dreaming. It doesn't matter. The pace will hold gently, inevitably moving toward rest. Let me speak plainly. You deserve rest. You deserve calm. You deserve a story told in tones soft as twilight, in textures subdued as clouds in moonlight. Let this introduction wash over you. If your mind wanders, that's natural. Imagine a stone gently dropped into a still pond. Ripples come and then fade. So too your thoughts will settle as you return your focus quietly here, on the story, on the breath, on the cumulative hush. In a moment, we will step into Chapter 1. A morning with the bailiff. But before the story begins in earnest, there is still this hour, this space between schedule and surrender, where nothing more is needed than your presence and this spoken word. You may feel weightless. You may feel gentle heaviness. You might sense limbs softening, eyes blinking slower. That is exactly what is intended. This introduction is the gateway, an unhurried prelude to rest. Now, find comfort. Perhaps adjust a pillow. Pull a light blanket over yourself. Let your hands rest. Let your toes relax. Let your jaw unclench. Let your heart slow. You're moving beyond tension into ease. As I count for us, 3, 2, 1, we cross the threshold. 3, 2, 1. And now welcome. The world of medieval England yawns before us. A lantern light, dew-weighted grass, soft clucking hens, the first shimmer of dawn. Let the story unfold. Let sleep come alongside it. Let each soft sentence cradle you closer to the edges of dream. Allow your day to settle behind you. Let your breath deepen and enter this quiet space with me. We begin as dawn's gentle light awakens the sky above medieval England, pale as a watercolor wash. There is no haste here, no urgent summons. Only the ebb and flow of earth and sky, the soft aromatics of dew-laden grass, wood smoke, and readiness. This is our frontier, your retreat, the hush before the world stirs fully awake. Close your eyes, or let them fall softly on the screen. Feel your body uncurl. Allow the rhythm of your breath to take hold. In and out, and out, you are safe. You are permitted this moment of calm. In a few short breaths, we will accompany a bailiff of yesteryear, a guide across quiet courtyards, through barns, and into fields that hum in harmony with dawn's arrival. He is neither lord nor laborer alone, but custodian and observer who speaks and whispers to the soil, the beasts, and the people who dwell here. As I begin to speak, let each word fall like dew on your eyelids, each phrase a kind invitation to drift deeper into rest. Step with me now into the pale light. The manor stands on a gentle knoll, stone walls, softened by early moss. Thatch rooftops undulate like ripples in a calm pool. Lantern in hand, I walk across dew-wet flagstones to the barn. Listen, my boots press softly. A distant cock crows, it cuts through deep hush, announcing dawn's arrival. Ivy-draped arches catch lantern light, tracing their curves in faint gold. A breeze lifts across the yard, cool and expectant, carrying the scent of earth and rising heat from hearths still smoldering within cottages. Inside the barn, it is quiet. Beams of oak arch overhead. My lantern illuminates straw, cobwebs, and the soft breath of waiting horses. Old Bramble, my steady workhorse, shifts his hoof. I bow my head to meet his eye. He breathes deep. In that shared pause, morning becomes real. I run my hand along his flanks, feeling muscle and warmth. I dip finger into his trough water cold sweet on my palm. There is no hurry here, only ritual, repetition, presence. I smooth straw, retreat noiselessly, letting barn doors close with a muted hush. Walls of cottages catch dawn's pale glow beyond the yard gate. The world beyond still holds itself in silence. Through these moments, I ground myself ready to walk fields and guard the day's gentle sovereignty. Through the gate, I enter fields raked in furrows. The smell of turned earth drifts softly, layered with green growth. Each blade of grass shimmers with dew. I walk carefully, pausing to kneel at the furrow's edge. I touch soil cool, giving. Furrows are not merely lines in land. They are the history of planting seasons, committees of seed and sun, of the bailiff's care. Ahead, a blackbird perches on a hedge. Its song is slow, measured one clear note that opens like a silent hymn. I close my eyes to listen. Breathe in, breathe out. Further on, I move toward a small herd of sheep. I count them, scanning each wool-laden back. A Awe stands apart off balance. Kneeling, I test her leg. A small stone embedded in her hoof, just behind the dew-clad pad. I remove it gently, press a simple dressing. She shifts easily, bleats softly. I rise, hands steady on her fleece, and continue. I come to a wooden footbridge arcing over a slender brook. I pause, feel wind on face, hear water, ripple. I trace the stonework, pick up a pebble. The sound connects me to here and now. Landscape and spirit align. I wander toward the orchard saplings lean with promise. I touch a low branch, smooth bark, tender green shoot, a slow breath. In these fields, I am servant, steward, observer rooted in care rather than command. I walk down the path to the village green. Smoke spirals from chimney stacks, catching dawn light. A mother steps from her cottage door, carrying a basket. Children shuffle, yawning. A dog greets her, tail wagging softly. Hearth fires glow orange through windows. Under the ancient elm in the green center, dew-fingered grass yields under my boots. I pause beneath the spreading limbs, brush back a wayward stone. Their bark is rough, but reassuring an anchor in human routine. I witness daily domestic ritual. A cottage door creaks. Bread is handed to a neighbor. They lower voices, exchange fare. God's peace, I nod softly. No ceremony, only connection. Mutual rest after night's vigil. I step to the churchyard's edge. The small stone chapel is closed now, but its presence is firm. This place of gathering, of prayer, of passing seasons. I allow its silence to seep into me. Dawn's march carries no triumph, only slow unfolding. Beneath the elm, I spread a cloth. I place beside me coarse bread, dark, hearty, and a flask of cool water. Each bite is deliberate, unhurried. Each sip restorative. Leaves quiver above as a breeze passes through. Morning light filters over table and cloth. Bird calls intermingle with distant church bell, low and sonorous. This is a meal lived deliberately of calm simplicity. I close my eyes, chew slowly. Consider the field, the barn, the village. Each demand met, each creature fed or tended, each boundary witnessed. Bread and water sustain both body and silence. Sunrise has settled into morning light, now the sky warmed to pale gold. I rise, brush straw from cloak, and fold cloth from beneath the elm. This morning, I carried lantern, bread, quill, and care. I greeted horse and stream, bird and birch. I observed domestic ritual, sowed trust in community, reflected presence in ledger entries yet to come. I breathed deeply, grounding body in courtyard stones once more. Behind me, barn doors sway. Beyond me, fields stretch toward warmth. Here, in this moment, there is no more to do, only to hold all that has been witnessed and tended. Life's rhythms march on, but not today. Today is held in calm clarity and gentle purpose. I rise again with the dawn, but this morning carries a subtle shift of purpose. Yesterday, I was caretaker of dawn and field. Today, I step fully into my role as the Lord's representative. In this quiet stillness, I smooth my cloak, lace my boots with care, and breathe deep, readying not just body, but intention. My chamber overlooks the central garth, where dew glimmers on flagstones. The manor's walls stand solemn, their stone as ancient as the realm itself. I pause at the window, inhaling the hush, acknowledging the responsibility carried in stillness. Before the light grows bright, I walk across the courtyard, lantern held low. My shadow drapes over the stones, soft and companion-like. The world stirs. This day, I will tend to earth and justice in equal measure. Beyond the barn gate, fields stretch in ordered rows. As the Lord's chief official, his permanent representative, I walk furrow by furrow. The domain, the land owned directly by the Lord and managed under my care, must be attended daily. This morning, I kneel and knead damp soil between fingers listening. A healthy field yields spring's promise. I see oxen bending to wooden plows, the plowman guided by the reeve. The reeve assists me, an overseer chosen from among villains. He works under my guidance, but I alone issue direction in the service of the Lord. A plowshare has fractured one of the wheels, creaks slightly. I kneel by the plow, balancing grace and firmness, and speak softly to the man. Let the wheel rest. We will mend it at noon, and then move steadily on. He nods, and I press my hand to his shoulder, not to command, but to connect, to share the ease of purposeful labor. Further on, I pause beside barley nearly chest high, swaying gently in breeze. I note the evenness of rows. Some furrows are slightly shallow, likely sown too early in cold earth. A careful note in my ledger tonight will remind me to call for manuring before next planting. In a small paddock, ewes are gathered for shearing. I run my gaze over wool flecked with clean shorn fleece. I check a scoring. It is even. I confer echoing approval to the shearer. No harsh critique necessary, only measured guidance, rendered in warmth. Passing through an orchard, I inspect young saplings, touch bark, and prune a low branch leaning toward walkway. The image of order maintained, roots and shoots held in gentle discipline. Around midday, I return to the manor hall, robe heavy, ledger ready. I kneel at a broad table by the window, quill and ink in hand. My writing is careful, unhurried. I record notes, bushels sown and harvested, sheep sheared, oxen shod, beeswax barrels received. These details are not mere numbers. They tell a story of labor, of seasons, of promise kept. To the side stands grain, salt, iron, and tar-purchased goods for the manor's needs. The bailiff must ensure that necessary tools and goods, unavailable locally, are procured. I list their intended uses: forging new plow pieces, preserving cured meats, repairing hinges. I tally rents and services due from tenants. Some have paid labor in lieu of cash common in this realm. The customary tenants, their rents regulated by the manor's customs, are accounted faithfully. Even the simplest cottager yields bread sheaf or fence mending at harvest. Every assessment is recorded, and I will present them later at court. My words carry weight, the Lord's will, tempered with care. My writing is voice and authority in ink. As afternoon unfurls, villagers gather on the green. The court leet, called twice yearly, convenes soon, its purpose to enforce peace, maintain community order, and inspect frank pledge, the network of mutual responsibility among groups of families. A simple wooden bench stands under the elm, the steward lord's legal proxy seated at center. I stand to one side, ledger open. The jurors, 12 men of free tenure, sit compact in front. The bailiff's role is to execute proceedings, summon jurors, speak the charges, record findings. The crier steps forward, voice low. Let all suitors attend the court leet. He calls names of offenders. A stray pig rooted in a neighbor's onion patch. A tenant who sold, all underweight. Each stands, I speak calmly. Do you acknowledge? Will you pay the fine? They nod or speak softly. No drama, just order taking shape. A woman is accused of brewing weak ale. 2 brewers step forward. Tasting spoons are dipped. She concedes. We set a fine of a penny and a loaf. The jurors hum assent. We turn to frank pledge. Do you know of tumble or thief take in your tithing? We hear a reply from the men of little field. None reported. I recorded. A small lowered voice insists of someone breaking hedges. Names are checked. The jury nods and writs are made. When a dispute over tenancy arises, I read its terms slowly. Thomas, you yield copyhold to Margaret. She offers the fine of half a mark and suit of court. They both answer yes. A clerk notes the surrender and admission in court rolls. The proceedings close. The steward convicts no one criminal, but all local obligations are noted. I note date and names in the rolls. Payment is promised in fortnight. People depart. No cheering, just relieved footsteps. Herd livestock shuffled home. Roofs waiting for evening light. I gather the pages and jurors disperse. Dusk falls as I walk lanes, lantern entwined. I carry the quiet weight of the day, the fields inspected, records made, cups weighed, justice meted. Through lanes bordered by hedges and low fences, I visit the women who lost a pig. I follow them to the fence line, where roots lie upturned. I lift root and bury it, set a fresh sapling. This is my restitution, to mend land and trust. Then I meet the brewer, bringing bottle of proper ale to my hand. I sip. It is good, full, honest. One nod and note in ledger. Fine paid with quality brew. Tomorrow she may brew again. I pass barn and stable, checking each latch and hinge. Wood bear scratches, horses flick tails. Opportune moments to reaffirm security. Under larger elm near Manor entrance, I pause. The heart of the manor throbs here, wood, stone, living pulse. I breathe in evening air cool upon cheek. By my ledger lamplight in the hall, I write the court's fines, the records of frank pledge, logs of goods taken in, investments made. I cross-tally coin and entries, calibrate tomorrow's tasks, replace fence posts, order new nails from town, summon smith. I close book with deliberate care. Night deepens. I walk to the chapel stepstone, cool beneath my boots. Candlelight spills from narrow windows. A slow toll of vespers resonates. I linger, breathe the soft hymn, allow its gentle rhythm to unspool any tension. My final step is to the gate outside the manor walls. The whole compound is quiet, bathed in moonlight and shadow. In this moment, I am neither lord nor laborer, just a man standing between dawn and dusk, holding the day's covenant. I whisper a prayer of thanks for the fields tended, for peace preserved, for people's voices heard, for breaches mended. I see that the court leet was not a clash of wills, but a quiet circle of communal weaving. The Lord, absent or present, relies on me to maintain the manor's heart, its land, its law, its people's trust. I return to my chamber, cloak folded carefully. I set ledger aside. My eyelids are gentle in their weight. Tonight, I will dream of furrows even and fences secure, of hearths warmed and animals stabled. The bailiff's burden was today woven into the living tapestry of the manor, and now, with night's hush, I can rest. Midway through the day, the sun climbs high above the manor's roof, painting long beams over furrows and thatch. I stand at the edge of the domain fields, stretching in quiet rhythm. It is neither morning's promise nor evening's hush, but a steady pause in between. Midday. Here, the bailiff's heart lies in the small, careful balancing of necessity and order. I loosen my cloak, allowing movement as I stroll between rows of wheat and barley. No words are needed now. The fields speak in green undulations, in humming bees, in distant oxen hooves. I carry a satchel containing my midday ledger grain tallies, labor accounts, tools requiring repair, and I use it slowly, touching each page like a prayer. My footfalls are soft on the earth. I breathe in dust and green moisture. Each furrow is a line in the story of the manor, plowed, sown, tended with purpose. Along the barley, I pause where lamb's ear weeds intermix with the crop. I kneel, gently parting stems. A few stray stalks stand too close, their grain crowding the good ears to grow. I tug them free, mindful not to disturb roots. This gentle intervention ensures a better yield. I move toward the meadow, where cattle graze upon a patchwork of green and brown. I walk among them, running a hand along soft hides, counting calves. One heifer limps slightly a tender joint. I lean low, voice quiet. "Take ease today, little one." A shepherd nods and sets aside a handful of fresh hay and water in a wooden trough. I note in my ledger, "Lame heifer, watch and rest." From meadow to sheepfold, I open gate and let breeze shift fleeced backs. I whisper thanks for their wool, knowing it will serve warmth and trade. I pick up a loose handful, feeling its springiness. Later, I'll account the fleeces ready for shearing. A plowman approaches, wiping sweat as he leans on team. A wheel's iron band has loosened. Together, we inspect its fit. I instruct him to cease for now. We'll rig a lap join after our midday meal. There's no snapping of whip, no harsh bark-only measured words, and water offered in an oaken bowl. Nearby, in an orchard, a fruit tree carries early apples. I climb a small wooden ladder, pluck one, and taste crisp flesh. Sweet with dew. I smile softly, note its growth, and drop it to the grass for the children to gather later. These are small tasks, counting, touching, tasting, noting. Yet each is the sign of care, the bailiff's devotion to the land in the present moment. I carry my ledger to the manor office, a timber-framed room opening to the courtyard. Here, ladies and men of the village await, each with a request. A broken hinge, a lost cow, a question of tenancy. A young mother steps forward with a basket of eggs. "My coop's door has fallen," she says softly. "She needs a hinge." I smile kindly, asking her to wait. I inspect the wood. The hing's pin has worn through. It's a small fixing, but to her, it matters. I mark it in my ledger and promise to have the smith repair tonight. Next, an elderly man approaches. He's lost his pig in the fens. "Wanda wandered off last dusk," he says, voice low. I nod, recalling my circuit through the lanes. I offer to search the boundary. I'll bring him word by eve. I make a note, missing pig, boundary routes to check. Two tenants await together. One disputes a strip length. The other had a stray sheep eating her bean pod. I listen to both. There is no harsh voice, only fair concern. I measure the strip, compare boundaries, and speak gently. Let us walk together tomorrow, and I will restore your peace. She bows. From the sheep case, I summon her husband to present the stray animal tomorrow at court. I stress kindness, fairness, and community. Finally, a young craftsman comes bearing a wooden bowl, cracked. Will you permit I repair it tonight near the smith's hearth? He asks. I inspect. It is well crafted. I note, grain of oak may last longer with beeswax. I allow it, requesting an exchange. Wax from his workshop for a bowl of honey later. All are small exchanges, woven into the community's tapestry. Here, the bailiff is host and helper, counselor and accountant, deeply woven into village life this midday, with ledger full of small entries, hinges, pigs, plot disputes. I step into a late afternoon glow. I walk through the village lanes, pausing at a cattle grid where grass grows through splits in the stones. I lean gently on a wooden post, mid-note on a case for tomorrow's court. A pair of children chase chickens without harm. I smile. A mother gathers herbs near a cottage's foundation. I nod, and they nod back. This is trust built across space, time, and simplicity. The bailiff is less a distant figure and more a tree's steady shade. I reach the brook's bridge and pause. Water trickles over cold stone, sun dappling the surface. I sit on the railing, close eyes, let music of water steady me. In this pause, I reflect. Land and law, heart and home, they intertwine. I trace names in my ledger. Hinge for the mother, sheep dispute, pig root. I breathe. Evening heralds another gathering. The manorial court at the hall. The court baron convenes an assembly of free tenants. The court concerns land disputes, transfers of copyhold, and arrangements of services owed to the lord. I approach the hall as dusk creeps in. Criers summon the tenants. They enter quietly. I take my place beside the steward. The hall's pillar candles glow, casting gentle shadows. My ledger rests open before me. One case concerns a boundary dispute between Thomas and Richard. They present claims that lines have shifted. I read their testimony softly. Thomas, will you show your evidence? A wooden rod is brought, an old marker. I step outside with both men, lantern in hand, and walk boundary stones. My voice is calm, guiding them to agreement. Each will maintain the hedge and fence for 6 months and share labor equal. Another matter. A tenant, Joan, seeks to pass her allotment to her daughter. She pays the customary fine peppercorn rent and swears the suit of court. I note acceptance. Call clerk forward. Gently arrange both their words to be fixed into the rolls. A final presentment is made by jurors. Neglect of roads in common way. They present the case. I decree each freed tenant in turn will contribute a day's labor to repair. No anger, only communal responsibility. When the court's gavel falls, I speak softly. So let it be recorded. So let it stand. Ledger closes. We rise. People file down the hall, nodding good night. I walk them back to the door, lantern guiding each step. Night is deep. I walk across dew-slick courtyard. I breathe in the cold wind. Slate rooftops gleam under moon. The manor sleeps. So do the village fields. And so, at last, may we. In my chamber, I open the ledger and flick through entries. Each hinge, pig, plot dispute is more than a note. It is trust registered, deeds tracked, community held. As the Lord's representative, I speak quietly with each person's life, not to rule, but to serve. I lift quill and add a final entry. Evening court held, cases heard, village order maintained. I ink it gently. I note tomorrow's sunrise, tomorrow's bridges, tomorrow's trust. I pause by window. The barn loft looms silent. I hear distant church bell, low and solitary. It reminds me, the bailiff is not alone. We are all woven into this silent purpose of service and support. My cloak folded, boots removed, I lay by hearth's edge, candle gutters. I let warmth sink into arms and back. Eyes grow heavier. Thoughts dissolve into soft images of barley waves, of villagers rounding the barn, of fields reflecting moonlight. Take this moment with me. Let your breath slow. Inhale calm. Exhale ease. You have walked this midday journey, the field's tilt, the village's soft requests, the gentle court's order. The land rests now, and so may you. Let the steward's final words echo. So let it be recorded, so let it stand. A phrase of closure, a moment of safe completion. Lay aside cares, summon calm. You're invited now to sink into your rest as I sink into mine. Tomorrow dawn awaits, but not yet. For now, there is only quiet. Morning arrives in violet gray light. I awaken gently, careful not to startle the stillness of the manor house. Today, I rise not to tend fields or herd livestock, but to sit at the steady desk that centers my duties as record keeper. Readying myself, I run my fingers across familiar ledger bindings and quill pens, tools of both care and authority. In the study, a single candle flickers beside parchments. I trace the raised grain of the tabletop, its hue as warm as memory. Each day's record is a moment of service, quiet yet essential. Here, I am not a moving presence, but a thoughtful pause in the turning of seasons. I open the ledger and breathe in the scent of ink and vellum. Today, I will record the stories of labor and law, of seeds sown and pleas heard. In this paper, futures are negotiated, community is preserved, and trust is written into permanence. My first task, inventories and accounts from last harvest. The demands yield grain, barley, oats now stored in bins and sacks. I turn to the income side, tenant rents, fines paid, sale of wool. Opposite, the expenditure, repairs, purchases, fees for Smith and Miller. This duality balances land's giving and tending, a gentle rhythm of flow and return. When income outweighs outgoings, I whisper a grateful prayer to fields and hands. When reversed, I note remedies. More careful seed planning, a rewash of sheep fleece, or negotiating lower iron price with traveling smith. The bailiff oversaw not only land and labor, but was the steward's lens into daily life. This ledger is my map, showing where strength lies and where attention must go. Tonight's entry, repair of barn doors, 2 iron hinges, oak beams cost paid, labor logged. Ink flows slowly, deliberate as thought. I balance sums, align columns my numbers breathe. I lift head and gaze out the mullioned window. Dew-slick grass glows in morning pale. The manor awaits what I record. In the Lord's chapel, vestiges of morning light filter through high windows. Here, a small cleric sits, awaiting my arrival with parchment rolls in hand. These are the court rolls, carefully inscribed records of previous manor courts. Barren, customary or leet, held every few weeks or seasons. The bailiff's hand delivered summons. Within these rolls are names, cases, fines, bylaws, admissions, and transfers of copyhold lands. Standing by the long wooden table, I unroll the scroll gently. I read, "In Day Namen, court held in the Manor Hall before steward and bailiff, on Feast of St. James, Anno Regis, ... Each line is a careful articulation of authority, custom, and communal care. I inspect entries. John of the West Fields fined half a mark for failing to repair hedge. Mary of Little Orchard admitted to her deceased husband's cottage, her fine duly paid. I mark duplicates in my ledger, translate Latin phrases, note any unsettled balances. In this quiet communing with past gatherings, I feel the weight of continuity and the softness of persistence. A chain unbroken, families remembered, obligations upheld, trust recorded. Outside the chapel, 2 tenants await. They come to finalize a transfer of copyhold, a method in which land is held at the Lord's will, recorded in court, not freehold, and inheritable by custom. I sit them before the cleric. I read aloud. Thomas surrenders the croft of Meadowplot, and Jane is admitted. Fine. 1 peppercorn, suit of court, due. I watch their calm assent. The transfer will bind family and future. It will shape daily labor and naming of plots for generations. This ritual binds village life to the steward's watch and to the records I maintain in ink, oath, and custom. Late morning, I refill ink, sharpen quills, straighten scrolls. I open chest wax, seals, parchment tabs. Each is essential to mark authority. I weigh seal onto document, the Lord's device impressed softly. I record each supply, aware of future necessity. A clerk quietly enters with empty ink pot. I top with iron gall solution, mixing amber hue. We speak in hushed tones. This is no hurry, just attention to detail. All tools stored neatly. Parchment laid flat. Wax balls tucked away in cloth. Order preserved. Come mid-afternoon, villagers arrive with solemn eyes. One seeks confirmation of inherited land. Another requests copy of bylaw changed last court. Another brings payment of fine and needs receipt. To each, I offer gentle words. I open ledger and rolls. I read entries. I weigh wax and seal their parchment when needed. A small certificate of admission, a note of payment, a custom of peppercorn rent. Each official act is low-key, discreet, affirming. These short interactions are connections. Trust confirmed, words preserved, disputes avoided. The bailiff's pen here is as binding as law. I breathe, mindful of the quiet weight of trust. A last look at the ledger. I align final columns, sign with flourish, and close the cover. The cleric kneels to collect court rolls. I nod. We share the silent acknowledgement that days are held and tomorrow awaits. Outside, dusk tugs on windows. I walk back to the courtyard. The manor rests. Animals stabled, hearths lit, doors locked. I pause under the elm, place my hand on its rough bark-steady root amid daily shifts. Here I whisper thanks, for ink and parchment, for voice and duty. I breathe in the smell of evening dew. I feel release, records complete, responsibilities fulfilled. Your breath has slowed as mine has. You have shared this quiet day, no furrow plowed, no court convened on green, but a day of care and permanence. Records kept, names honored, community preserved in ink. As the candle gutter dwindles, let your eyes grow soft. Let your thoughts unravel gently. You are held by words, by trust, by care. Allow this chapter to settle in your bones. Let ledger's closure become your own. Let responsibilities rest alongside the bailiffs. You may drift now, nestled in calm. Before dawn's full light, I prepare for our journey. My role today is to travel to the weekly market, a responsibility rooted in stewardship and in the exchange that sustains the manor. I walk softly through courtyard, cloak folded tightly, boots laced for the road. Bramble and companions nibble from feed troughs. I speak quietly. We journey far, old friend. His breath puffs warm against chilly air. I check the cart behind him, its wooden wheels sturdy with worn iron bands. Lantern lit, I mount. Dawn's fingers touch the sky. With steady step, we head down the lane toward the open road. I inhale the scent of damp straw and cold mist, and feel the pulse of purpose in my chest. Goods in care for both manor and village. The road unfurls gently before us-rutted dirt, rising and falling with the land's quiet shape. I settle into a rhythm, hoof, wheel, breath. All else dims. Along the route, small homesteads emerge. Smoke curls from square chimneys. Dogs pad out at our passage. I nod to farmers stepping into light. They lift hands in greeting. Voices hush before dawn fully blooms. Fields stretch wide, crops unmoving in layered calm. I count lamp beacons on threshing floors ahead, others traveling or starting their own schedules for market. Birdsong begins. Lark overhead, thrush at hedge. The cart shudders slightly on rough ground. I steady bramble with soft touch. Ahead, a simple stone waymarker indicates mileage to market and next fair. When sun rises, the road blossoms in warmth. A lone hawker's caravan appears, laden with pottery and cloth. I offer morning greeting, and he returns it with hat raised in measured calm. Every village we pass is a heartbeat in the day's mosaic wooden cross. Well, common bench. I whisper thanks for each placid greeting that holds my passage. Entering the market lane, sounds shift. Muted voices, trading calls, creak of carts. But they are gentle here. No clamoring, no chaos. It is a place of exchange, yes, but not alarm. Stalls line the space. Cloth in soft hues, cheese rounds heaped, butter slicked in wooden bowls. I wander between them, ledger in hand, noting prices, quality, origin. At the spice stall, I inhale mallow-scented saffron. I nod to the merchant. I purchase a fine cloth for replacing torn duffel at Manor. Cost, half a mark. I record each item, each coin. Careful in voice, careful in mind. Nearby, a butcher offers smoked meats. I ask for a pound of bacon. He weighs slowly, announces a penny. I listen, nod, record into ledger the cost and destination larder stores for manor meals. A wheeled scale measures grain peasant households auctioning surplus. I weigh a sack of oats. Price agreeable. I take note for manor feed, for winter's cold winds. At the corner, a traveling mason inspects stone tiles. I speak quietly about repairing the chapel's steps. He agrees to meet tomorrow. I note, mason, stair repair, barter of labor and coin. Every purchase is not rushed, it is intentional. I breathe with each exchange, aware of sustenance, community, stewardship. My duties extend beyond purchase. I serve as the Lord's eyes and guardianship among traders. I occasionally check scales or assays when my presence is requested, especially for weighing wool or cheese. Some medieval bailiffs held this role at fairs to ensure quality and fairness. A cloth merchant invites me to inspect the weave's quality. I run fingertips across woolen warp and weftight. Cling. I nod. He bows. I note. Cloth accepted. Later, a peasant complains of underweight ale bought earlier. We stand quietly by wooden cask. I dip cup, taste, weigh cup and ale. It tilts slightly short. I speak to brewer calmly. Add another spoon. He corrects. I note fine a halfpenny, but return bottle full. In this moment, the bailiff is both guide and justice, the gentle agent of fair trade. He ensures no one cheats, and no one suffers. Noon arrives a lull. I step aside to the market's edge and sip water from flask. I lean on cart, feel steady wood underhand. People pass quietly, families, craftsmen, herdsmen. I close ledger for a moment. I watch as smoke drifts from kettle tar stalls. As horses shift their feet. The market is activity. Yes, but it breathes, not bellows. I breathe deep, knowing that my role is not to conquer market, but to shepherd trust, to hold space where commerce and calm coexist. Late afternoon, I gather cart. Linen cloth, cured meats, grain sacks, tools ordered. I check wheels, oil hinge axles with tar. I help bramble with feed, pat gently. When most stalls are folded, I exchange final pleasantries. Merchants offer respect. Safe return, bailiff. I reply, God keep you till next market. Ledger updated. Trade balanced. What manor pays, what manor gains. The return path lies quiet, silvered by dusk. I mount, settle reins. The wool cloth folds beside me, bacon tucked beneath sacks. Beneath the hood of night, I follow starlight on familiar way. The moon rises as I approach Manor Gate. Lantern glints on moist woods. I cross threshold with ease. In courtyard, I unload items, grain carted to barn, cloth placed in storage, meat salted and hung. I record their placement. Bramble is led to stable, oats offered. In hall, steward awaits with gentle smile. We review ledger by candlelight, expenses, revenues, parity. He nods. I note. All balanced, market trip complete. Outdoors, courtyard is silent. I walk beneath elms' heavy limbs. Lantern off. I pause. Sky is vast, calm. I whisper thanks for safe passage, prudent trade, and people's trust. I return to chamber, boots removed, cloak hung. I sit by candle, journal closes. I trace finger along ledger spine. No triumph, only quiet satisfaction. Your journey with me has followed bridle road, trading stall, ledger page. We have breathed together in morning mist, watched peaceful exchange at market, returned in night's hush. Let your breath lengthen. Let your mind slow. The market stir now hushes in your chest. Ledger closes in your memory. Let sleep rise like dawn shore, gentle, unfurled. This chapter closes with dusk awaiting sleep's embrace. May meeting of journeys, trade, and trust guide you similarly into restful evening. The morning opens with deeper purpose. Today is court day, and a gentle hum pulses beneath each breath. I wake with causal grace, aware of the meeting ahead, the manor court, where land, law, and life align under the bailiff's care. I dress deliberately, cloak brushed, boots laced. My voice is calm as I step into the courtyard. Lantern light drifts on the dew-stewed ground. Today, the manor's inhabitants, free tenants, cottagers will gather. Their attendance is both custom and obligation, a shared rhythm of communal duty grounded in medieval law. I hold a parchment listing names jurors, suitors, craftsmen of office. Each is called according to custom. My hand smooths over it, steady and sure. As dawn advances, I summon court with clear voice. Let all within the manor assemble. The villagers step from their homes, lanterns fading as they walk toward the hall's door. I walk the path to the green beneath the elm morning sun, filtering through its leaves. Villagers arrive singly, in pairs, quietly acknowledging one another. Some carry small bundles, pennies for fines, tokens for fealty. Near the hall, I inspect the seating. A row of oaken benches for free tenants, a spot for the steward, and a small dais for myself as officer of the court. I arrange the bench where jurors will sit. The steward arrives, silent and grave, carrying court roll in hand. Together we stand, awaiting attendance. A small crowd forms, men touched by labor-worn hands, women in quiet dress, children at their feet. A murmur travels, judgment, boundaries, dispute, duties, transfers. Villagers speak of submission to custom, hope for resolution. All presentment is possible. Every whispered concern may find hearing. My breath slows as I look on this huddle of lives gathered quietly beneath morning light. This is community in gentle form, a single assembly, woven in trust, accountability, and law. I raise my voice just enough. Jurors of the manor step forward. 12 men step onto the bench chosen from free tenants. Each takes oath to serve. The jury is central. Their oath underpinned manorial custom, and they hold both responsibility and trust. I then call for officers: crier, constable, ale taster, breadweigher, scavenger, woodwork. Each comes forward. Their roles are small but essential. For example, the ale taster must ensure that ale sold meets weight and quality. Breadweigher ensures loaves are standard. These offices, once specified in Hallmode Court, remind villagers that small duties bind them all. Each officer bows as I welcome them, and then returns to stand behind jury bench. The hall is hushed, expectant. The steward steps to dais beside me. This solemn quiet is not fear, but calm readiness. We begin with presentments, cases brought forward by jurors or suitors. First, neglect of hedgerow along east boundary. A juror speaks, pointing gently. I respond. Will the accused, Robert of Littlefield, attend? Robert steps from the crowd. No shame in his step, only acceptance. I pause. Hedge unswept thorns over pathway. Remedy? He nods. I decree restoration within a fortnight. Robert bows. A note is made in roll. Next, a tenant seeks transfer of copyhold. She stands, papers in hand. Jane of Orchardwood, do you surrender Meadowcroft for your son's use? I ask. She kneels, hands parchment to me. My helper reads. The steward confirms fine paid. I record admission. This ritual, so simple the transfer of land across generations, anchors families and the manor's rhythms. Then comes a dispute over a stray pig found rooting near Oatfield. 2 men step forward. Each claims ownership. Jury is silent, attentive. I guide them. Let each bring evidence. A ring, a brand, bred from home to feed pig. They present items. Jury consults. After brief whisper, One demands return with small fine. We agree and note decision. Next, ale sold underweight. The ale taster steps up. Test, please. He fills small cup, weighs. It is light. Brewer stands, head bowed. I pronounce fine another cup of ale same weight, and more wax for casks. He offers apology and correction. He is released. Court moves on. Each presentment is quiet, no fury, no drama. Just measured custom, heard by neighbors, held by jury, resolved. Every 6 months, the court expands to include view of frank pledge. Each man over 12 brings his pledge group to attest joint responsibility. I summon tithing leaders. Each steps forward. Do you affirm that within your tithing, all pledges are accounted for, and no man flees? Yes, they each reply. Some name miscreants, a traveler not recorded, an unpaid fee. The jury notes dissent. I state, for this, tithing will repair 2 roods of wayward hedge before next moon. They bow. Community order held not by power, but by shared care. Frank pledge binds everyone in collective custody of behavior necessary. In villages where bonds of dependency tie tight, the steward gives final word. I affirm, so let it be recorded. The court draws to gentle close. Villagers rise, stretch, and file out. I thank the jury and officers quietly, gesture to steward. Roll is closed, and I assist steward in placing scroll gently into satchel. I escort villagers to exit, soft goodbyes exchanged. Kidded hands on bowls, a child's laughter filters. The hush returns not bleak, but contented. Law has served its purpose. Alone beneath elm, I exhale morning's tension. Court has been held, disputes heard, transfers settled, communal duty restored. I touch ledger slight dented margin, or pen paused. I record final note. Court held, 12 jurors sworn, 4 presentments, 2 fines, 1 admission, frank pledge passed. I close book. Court is more than hearing disputes. It's ceremony of community and accountability. As bailiff, I carry neither crown nor scepter, only pen, presence, and duty. The manor will wake fully now. Fields, children, hearths carry on. But between these moments, the court's quiet interlude, the manor's heart finds its common rhythm. Now, lower your eyes. Allow breath to deepen. You have accompanied court steps. Assembly, oaths, decisions, release. Let the murmurs fade in your chest. Court's dignity opens space for calm. There is no rush, no expectation, just the steady hum of human order joined in custom and care. Breathe in, breathe out. Allow this assembly of voices and purpose to settle your mind. You are part of something larger, calm, anchored, and held. Take this moment. Let sleep drift in like a final verdict of rest. The bailiff sets down pen. So may you. Dawn arrives with quiet resolve. I awaken, aware that today is dedicated to the annual balance, the meticulous settling of accounts that sustains the manor's presence and future. I draw on a woolen tunic and touch the leather-bound ledger on my desk. Its spine is creased from careful reading, each page weighted with thousands of lines of grain, rents, fines, labor, and tools. My desk lamp flickers. Outside, dawn mist drapes the courtyard. I settle into a wooden chair, knuckles warm over ink pots and quill brushes. This is no hurried task, it is a ceremony, a discipline of calm attention. Today, I balance more than numbers. I balance responsibilities between past and future, between communal trust and prudent stewardship. Manorial accounts follow a familiar form charge and discharge, yet each reflects a lived year. Seeding, reaping, repair, reward. These annual ledgers emerged in the early 13th century, born of a need for detailed stewardship of domain lands and the goods produced upon them. I open the current charge section, and I see entries. 75 bushels wheat sold at Michaelmas, 20 sheep shorn, carting lime to orchard, tenant fine for boundary repair. Each debit corresponds to some work done or resource shared. The discharge side lists oak beams bought, smith's wages, iron bought for hinges, repairs, wax for seals, church alms. I trace my finger down lines, pausing often on the name attached to a record, on the price debated by barter. These numbers represent trust. When a tenant paid with labor instead of cash, I measured and recorded so that no one forgot. When I commissioned new hinges, I tracked costs so future care could be true. The bailiff's records are a portrait of community action, true accountability. Each ledger page reminded me of the skill of the steward and bailiff's accountability to both lord and tenants. I pause at a margin note. Excessus crediti, owed to bailiff. The credit arises when cost or labor outpaces receipts, a gentle reminder that I hold responsibility for balance, both fiscal and moral. I begin with grain and produce. I confirm measures bushels tallied, weights checked against last year. I count sheep and cattle numbers, cross-referencing flock lists and pound records. Each item tallied is traced to a date and purpose. In debits, I see purchase of smith's iron, wax, tools, and repairs. I examine each. For example, 3 hinges for barn door, 2 pennies. Smith's labor. I check receipt scribbled at conclusion of entry. Ink matches my own. I nod and copy into the final draft roll. I move to labor accounts. Days owed, days worked, wheat given in lieu. A common accounting method records labor by man days worked, essential to managing feudal obligations. I tally totals. Here, the bailiff ensured that the balance between service and sustenance remained true. Next, fines and fees. Court money collected for boundary disputes, ale weighing errors. Late attendance is allocated to court expenses and charity payments, including church lights. I record these into a community fund ledger to ensure fines serve public purpose, not private profit. Finally, I balance excesses or deficits. The final balance shall answer. Does the manor return more than it spends? If yes, surplus may help fund winter fodder or repairs. If not, I must note cause and propose remedy. More careful seed planning, tighter weight control at markets, better repair scheduling. Once preliminary tally is done, I set aside the ledger and prepare for the annual audit. The seneschal or steward, if present, will examine records and ask questions. I arrange parchments, draft rolls, receipts, and my written summary. A clean table is set beside the window. A quill soaked and a bowl of clean water rests nearby. I breathe in, steady my mind. Auditing day is a calm test, not interrogation, but invitation to transparency. The bailiff stands not in fear, but in readiness. In this ceremony, I show that my stewardship is grounded, measured, and rightful. The steward arrives with 2 auditors. Candles lit. Silence hums in the room. They ask, "How many bushels sold?" I answer. They cross-check with bin lists. "How many sheep?" I answer. Tallies match sheep register. "What of court fines?" I open community fund ledger. funds align. Questions are slow and few. At a hedge, auditor notes cost of oak post fair price. I show market receipt. He nods. Another asks about wax purchase. Exam receipt and note of seals attached. I explain ritual of sealing court rolls. He listens respectfully. Each section is reviewed. Grain, livestock, labor, tools, income, and community fines. I explain discrepancies. One away died of birchwood rot recorded here. One barrel of cider used for Queen's journey. Each is balanced. The steward remarks, "Your record is thorough. Your balances are fine." Auditors note surplus and recommend that the parchment supplies might be stocked carefully to avoid shortfall next year. We exchange quiet agreement. I note, order 5 wax balls and 100 vellum leaves. This quiet affirmation concludes the audit. I exhale with relief and gratitude. I copy corrections from audit into final roll. I pen a closing note. Accounts audited, pretenses settled, supplies ordered. I seal roll with wax and lay it with previous year's set alongside cork roll. I stand and let memory drift. Where seeds were sown, where hinges born, where courts convened. These records are not dry facts. They contain the soul of stewardship and the breath of community. Night blankets Manor. I gather ledger and audit roll. Outside, the chapel bell tolls, soft and slow. I step into courtyard. Dew bright under moon. I breathe deeply, feel ledger leather warm in arms. Tonight, I rest in knowledge that land, labor, law, and ledger align. The books are balanced. The Manor's pulse remains true. My pen has done its work. Tomorrow returns to fields, markets, courts. But tonight balance is complete. Close your eyes. Let your breath deepen. You have walked this path, counted grain, measured labor, balanced responsibility. Just as ledger closes for the year, may your mind close to the day. Let the numbers and balances fade into calm dark. Feel grounding in your breath. Unwind in the hush. Tonight, we rest in balance as the bailiff, as caretaker, and as you. Drift now into sleep. Your day is complete. High summer arrives like a slow breath. I awaken before dawn, stirred by birdsong and the soft whir of insects. Today isn't a day of new beginnings, but of culmination. Fields first plowed in spring now stand heavy with ripening ears of wheat and barley. I dress quietly, mindful of dew-misted grass. My boots brush straw as I step into courtyard. The manor feels alive. Wood smoke drifts from kitchens. Horses shift in stalls. Walls hold warmth from yesterday's sun. I carry a short staff and ledger, prepared for measurement and planning. Today, I will guide harvest, fold sheep, stack sheaves, and ensure that no trampling foot or untended crop goes unnoticed. According to custom, the bailiff in August must see that corn be well gathered and reaped evenly, and oversee stacking and cocks for drying. I stand at field edge, inhale golden air, and imagine each stalk counting toward sustenance, toward future. With staff in hand, I walk into the wheat field. Walls of green gold reach shoulder high. I test a stalk snap grain firm at top. Growth is at perfection. I pause, run palms across rows. I check patterns. Are the cock sheaves stood upright in small bundles arranged for drying? Are there gaps where heads bend too low? Are weeds threatening? Evidence of weeding failure would weaken yields. I kneel, picking rogue thistles. Each uprooted care rather than haste. In summer, weeding is essential to maximize yield. We call this time weeding harvest fields, loathsome but crucial. A scythe's edge glints ahead, a harvester pauses. I watch his measured swing. He moves methodically, stroke and sway, breath and blade. I nod, and he pauses. I check the angle. Confirm stroke is shallow to avoid cutting straw too low. I speak softly. Maintain stem length dry straw is needed for winter stalls. He nods. Fields are a community effort. Bailiff allocates teams pleasure labor, villains on boon work, hired reapers. I track them in ledger. 5 villains reaping, 8 hired hands bundling. Each name is assertion of care and order. I pause at a stack of golden sheaves. I inspect moisture. Not too wet stack will dry evenly. I adjust thatch leaf atop the sheaf to shed rain. I note 3 sheaves cocked. Adjust moisture tomorrow if rain. Customarily, cocks must be small for quick drying. On the field's outer edge, shepherds fold sheep overnight to manure soil, an integrated technique to enrich earth. I approach, noting fleeced backs glinting in light, mixture of wool and droppings. I speak to the head shepherd. Will you move fold tonight to next fallow patch? He confirms. Tonight's fold will enrich the barley field. I note schedule. Folding sheep at field 2, sunset. Folding recurs in regular rotation. Folding is practical. Manure, pest control, soil fertility. I record flock number, 50 sheep. I inspect for sheep with hot wool. They may need shade. I direct that rest be allowed under elm meadow. Go gently, I say. Each point is small, but builds prosperity. I gather cart teams near field exit. I assign villains and hirelings to load. Carts stand ready, wheels high beneath supportive yoke. I examine each wheel-tight, iron-bound. Carting must be careful. Weak cocks cannot be crushed. I instruct, unload gently into barns. Place sheaves lengthwise. Cart driver nods, and I note cart assignment in ledger. I breathe. Sun climbs, sweat drips. But work is measured, not frantic. I pause under tree, sip water, close eyes, breathe. In summer, the bailiff must see that plows are yoked at right time and forbid ill treatment of beasts. I check oxen in draft fit, yoked, being led further up fields. I note, yoke adjusted. Animals in rest rotation. As sun peaks, I call for midday pause. Under elm we gather. Bread, cheese, water. Sweat cools. Voices are soft. I offer thanks to the land, to hands, to beasts. I watch dust swirl on lanes. Insects hum across stalks. Time is folded a moment complete. A deepening of connection. Toward dusk, darker shade mingles with golden light. I appraise stacks. Are they small cocks or large? August custom suggests small for quicker secret drying. I test moisture again. Prepared to adjust for rain. I measure third load, 60 sheaves. I record for Manor. Harvest day, 8 to 120 sheaves, threshed tom row. Carts rumble in, unload, and return for next loads. I direct loader direction, urging piles remain neat. After last load, I address villagers. Rest tomorrow. Let field dry. They nod, happy at break between labor curves. Sheep folding is scheduled. Sheep to move as sun sets. I stand at dusk. Field waves behind me. Carts idle. Sheep fold at field edge. I breathe deep. Harvest has begun, not frenzy, but slow and assured. Each sheaf, each fold, seals the manor's future. In metered breath, the bailiff shapes moment, field, harvest, community. I place ledger in pouch and walk toward hall. Lantern hangs, ready for night. Let your breath drift long and deep. You have walked with me through gold-lit fields, harmonies of scythe, the rustle of stacks, the quiet fold of sheep. Allow this feeling gentle diligence, steady care, to settle slackened muscles and mind. Tonight, fields rest, so may you. Close your eyes, breathe, drift. The air at dawn is crisp, carrying the faint scent of fallen leaves. The sun rises pale above the manor's edge, illuminating the timber-framed houses, and fields turn golden brown. This is autumn time of gathering, preparation, and small reflection. I awake in the bailiff's chamber with a calm resolve. No longer the lush green of summer, the manor now sighs as it transitions. I dress in wool, step outside in near silence, and pause to take this moment in. The shift of seasons felt deep in bone. Carts stand ready by the barn, emptied of harvest, awaiting new harvests like apples, nuts, grapes. The day beckons me. Pressing cider, cutting firewood, preparing winter stores. These are not urgent calls, but deliberate tasks, the manor's autumn breathing. I begin with fields that still bear crops, legumes, oats, fallow cover, and late beans. The open field system rotates crops from field to field. Autumn sees one field fallow, another with winter wheat, another brassica sown for root harvest next year. I walk field boundary near hedgerows where hazelnuts and sloes hang ripe. I reach down to gather nuts for pigs' winter feed. I test the fence line. Are gaps present? Hedge management in autumn is as vital as planting in spring. I note in ledger, hedge near western furrow needs laying before All Saints' tide. Margins thickened, order restored. Each field I pass shows signs of autumn to come. Fallen stalks, darkening soil, early stubble. I kneel to touch the earth cool, moist, ready for winter rest. I breathe and rise. Tasks await. Next, I walk to the orchard heavy with apples and pears. Some lie fallen in soft rot. Others are plucked purposefully. We will press cider today for long-term storage, a quiet, steady industry of the domain. I supervise men bringing wooden presses and tubs. A slow, gentle process follows. Fruit crushed under beam, juice flowing into barrels. The air smells sweet and ripe. Each press turn is paced, calm. I taste the must balmy, earthy. I record yields, number of barrels stored in cool cellar. Cider will provide through winter, both for drink and barter in markets. It is medicine, drink, and tradition. The press lumbers, artisans' clean hides, barrels sealed with wax. I note, 5 barrels cider pressed, cellar stored. My words carry future months' comfort, lids to wait under low light. Autumn is preparation. I check coppiced woodland for firewood. I meet the woodward. Men have cut dead elms, birches, oaks. I inspect splits drying, seasoned. I order bundles tied and stacked under loft. This wood will warm the manor through frost. I note, enough for 6 months' hearth fires. I nod toward future hearth flames, children's feet warmed beside fire. Meanwhile, sheep graze fallow fields. Their wool, shorn in summer, must carry them. Grazing autumn stubble nourishes them before winter fodder begins. I ensure fold shift, Move flock to field east tomorrow morning. I check pens, strengthen fences. Animals shift. I breathe in earthy smells and shadows calm. Autumn brings need to villagers' storehouses may run low. Some families lack enough oats or nuts. I open Manor granary in measured form. 2 bushels provided to Widow Atfield, in line with tithe. She bows in gratitude. I supervise allocation as bailiff. I balance generosity and community care. Grant too much, Manor weakens. Too little, trust erodes. Accounts reflect every measure given. I remind tenants of upcoming tithe gathering. Next Thursday at churchyard. Bring wool, flax, apples, steward to collect. Tithes honor both church and welfare of Manor systems. Inside barn and cellar, I inspect storage. Sacks of oats, bushels of barley, barrels of cider. I open ledger and log. Store, oats to 30 bushels, barley 46, cider to 5 barrels. Apples minus 20 hundredweight, grain and drink held for winter's promise. I examine wood stacks dry and measured. Firewood accounted as item for household logs. I note in ledger, wood to 50 bundles. Lines fill page. Autumn's labors captured in ink. I breathe, pause, then close and seal. Enough done for this season rest will come. At dusk, I walk beneath orchard boughs. Leaves fall gently, as if with story. Under eastern elm, I pause. I think, land rests, animals fed, storehouses full. The manor is caught in autumn calm, not still, but ready. My responsibilities carried me from field boundary to cellar floor. Ledger closed, bowls filled, flocks prepared. Hearth ready not for fire, but for promise. I step into courtyard. Smoke drifts from hearth ovens. Night is calm, near cold, but warmed by harvest labors. Allow your breath to slow along with season's pace. You've tended autumn's tasks, setting store, gathering fruit, allocating grain, counting logs. Let each inhalation guide your mind to burnished fields, amber leaves, the press's gentle turn, fire is soon crackling. Now, let your eyes close. Let your thoughts fall soft as leaves. You may drift into sleep, even as the manor rests in autumn hush. Winter dawn arrives slow and soft. Frost lies heavy on rooftops. Crisp echoes beneath my boots as I leave my chamber. The air smells cold clean as iron. I draw cloak close and step into the courtyard where breath curls beside me. Fields once golden with wheat and barley now lie flat and gray under frost silk. The manor is hushed louder in its stillness than through any season of busy. But even now, the bailiff's eyes and hands remain tasked with quiet vigilance. I pause beside the wooden gate. A distant crow caws. The world beyond sleeps. Here I breathe in cold air, steady heartbeat inside warm cloak, prepared to walk the manor in its hushed state. My first stop is the barn. Frost-touched stalls glimmer in the soft dawn lantern. I unlatch the wooden door with measured ease. Inside, the horses stand in stalls old brambles flank heaves in sleep. I run hand along neck warm, solid. I sip water from trough. Animals glean sustenance from winter rations. I check grain stores. Barley mix, oats, hay that chorus with straw-based warmth. I confirm simple feed, enough for 2 weeks. I note in my ledger, feed stocks adequate replace next market. Cattle, safe in their shelters, stir at my passage. I walk along stalls, each head bows, each nose sniffs straw. I press a hoof gently, check saws for freezing cracks. Softly, all well. Each counted, each touched. Sheep wool thick and rippled napped together in folds near a wood-burning hearth. I check thatch over their shelter, mend any flickering thatch with spare straw. Chill air moves through the loft. I knot any gaps in wood slats to hold warmth. Winter demands vigilance. Frost can harm. Damp can molder. As bailiff, it is my duty to shelter the manor's living heart beneath icy skies. I step into cold courtyard. Sun is late blue-gray morning, pressing cold into bones. I mount bramble and ride to woodland edge. My task, inspect stored logs. Woodward awaits bundles of seasoned oak and birch, laid under roofed stack. I test dryness, weight, good. I count cords, 16. Enough to burn through frost and thaw. I pack sufficient for hearth and bakehouse. I note in ledger, firewood 16 bundles secured. Estimate 3 months consumption if mild. Provision for extra if cold deepens. I ride to grain loft check sacks against mice. I secure cover, adjust thatch. I check for leaks, all sturdy. Winter's peace is not absence of purpose, but presence of careful provision. Dawn yields to slow morning. In the manor kitchen, fires are ignited in hearth oven. Smoke drifts low. Cook places vessels of pottage on stones. This will simmer through noon. I brush cloak and step inside. Steam curls around me. Warm aromas of barley, onion, and salt greet me. I take a bowl of hot broth. Each sip warms limbs and soul. I wander hall stone floor warmed by underground flue. I check that candle eyes burn clean. Wax strips captured in hearth tray. In winter, keeping flame alight is more than comfort. It is signal of hospitality and safety. As bailiff, I ensure no hearth dies, no family chills. I walk rooms, guest chamber door latched, blankets folded. I note empty drawers, shift pots to dry stands. A mother and child pass, she nods at bowl. I return nod. The manor hosts more than animals, it hosts human need. Winter's peace is sustained by simple elements: warmth, care, light. After midday, I return to my chamber. Sun is low shadows cast long across wooden floor. I light a beeswax candle. My ledger awaits. Feed tally, wood count, boiler logs. I step through records. Last market trip filled winter stores. I confirm balances. Grain, bacon, cheeses, cider barrels still cool in cellar. I check rents due, a few to be paid by Candlemas. I craft a note to steward. Recommend purchase of additional hay and oats if frost persists more than 4 weeks. I set to writing, clear script across yellowed vellum. Writing in winter has its own hush. Feather scratches parchment. Candlelight flickers. Outside, wind may howl, but inside, words align. Late afternoon, I walk again to outer fences. Frost has thickened. I inspect posts for loose boards. I check gates against ice binding. I oil hinge with leftover tar. A birdhouse near the granary needs cleaning owl outside. A tenant approaches wife has brought wool to be carded inside Manor's workroom. I nod, gesture toward hearth. You are welcome to warm there. I will light lamp at dusk. She bows, thanks quietly. Even in peace, duties continue quiet, unhurried, attentive to life's fragile pulse. Night presses in. I enter the great hall by lantern. Fires pass through hearth. Logs crackle. I step beneath beams, heart quiet. I stand before the hearth. In this seasonal calm, I whisper thanks. For barns filled, for hearths burning, for people sheltered. I light second candle, read final ledger note. I place quill beside vessel of ink. Then I sit, lean by fire, hand resting on cloth to nap. Tonight, I rest alongside Manor. Winter's peace is not stillness, but wholeness. Your breath has slowed. You have walked with me through frost-lit barns, warm hearths, ledger by candle, night's embrace. Allow the hush of winter draw you deeper now. Let cold's clarity still racing thoughts. Close your eyes. Breathe softly, softly. Sleep be your comfort, your peace. Let the bailiff's winter vigil become your night's lullaby. Rest now, loved listener. We hold watch together. Advent arrives like moonlight before a storm-quiet anticipatory. The Manor wakes slowly to this preamble of Christmas. I rise before sunrise, aware of a shift in atmosphere. Tasks take on gentler tones, words are softer, and hearts lean toward hope more than duty. My first task, unlocking the Manor gates and lanterns, preparing hearths. As bailiff, I provide calm and order. At the same time, preparations for festive warmth begin. Holly and ivy hung, Yule log chosen. In medieval England, such dwellings were decorated with greenery and a large Yule log kindled on Christmas Eve. Its flame watched across the holiday. Each task is topped with intention. Stores of food, logs at ready, spaces for communal warmth. The Manor's hearth becomes the heart of celebration. Christmas Eve is quiet labor turned gentle. I walk through corridors lighting candles. In the hall, fine timbers glow with candlelight. Smoke drifts downward. The chosen Yule log is brought inside oak heavy and seasoned. We place it with care at the hearth's back, staff guiding its rest. A priest's blessing is softly spoken, this log to burn through 12 nights. Sparks are watched, each flicker believed to ward against misfortune. At dusk, I release help for dinner. Tables groan beneath venison, baked fish, pies, and figgy pudding. When the meal begins, I say no blessing louder than a murmur. Over bowls of spiced broth, small smiles curve, voices low with shared warmth. After meal, villagers gather on green. Wassailers come from orchards singing carols, offering blessings, and receiving mugs of cider or warm ale in return. This reciprocal tradition binds manor and people. I stand at hall door, welcoming each group. Their songs drift and settle into the night. Within hall, mummers perform small play-elaborate costume of a horned beast and masked figures gesture in mime. Audience smiles. Winter's chill shrinks into candle glow. This is Christmas Eve, not loud revel, but communal charm. Dawn rises soft. After brief private prayer, I assist the priest in lighting church candles. Parishioners file in, villagers, families, elders, children all, for midnight mass or early matins. The Manor's Christmas begins in quiet reverence, service held in stone and word. After service, I join the steward and widow's watch delivering bowls of pottage, crusts of bread, small roasted fowl to vulnerable tenants. Charity is essential on Christmas Day, reflecting Christ's grace. Children laugh quietly in courtyard, chasing small waterfowl, or playing quietly with wooden toys. A thoughtful hush pervades, a contrast to summer's bustle. At midday, a small feast in hall. Chicken, pies of mincemeat, pears from store. I speak a blessing quietly. Each cheer is gentle. The Yule log glows steadily as snowflakes fall beyond windows. No cheers too loud, no disruption of calm. The Christmas season extends through 12 days until 12th night when the final act unfolds. I walk into hall on evening of January 5th. The Yule log burns low, few embers glowing. Tonight the Lord of Misrule appears one, appointed by lot from among youth. A mock monarch with feathered hat and festive robe, he presides playfully over gentle revels. He grants light-hearted liberties, a spoonful of porridge, a dance, a bow to the bailiff. It is mild inversion, no chaos, but shared laughter. We exchange jokes, dance a short round, and accept grace in mirth. The mummers return, performing again. The hall warms to laughter and melody, part of Christmas's closing ceremony. In the morning, 12th day leaves traces of candle smoke and stray ribbons. I walk outside, frost sparkles, Yule log embers sit cold, threaded with green shoots. I remove it, store remains to kindle future years. I take a quiet cup of cider, walk boundary lines in frostlight, each marker held in candle's memory. The manor retains peace and patterns. I read the rolls from Christmas court, any small disputes set aside for celebration. Only kindness passes today. If minor grievances persist, they will return spring, but tonight is renewal. Now let your breath fall deeper. You have walked with me through candlelit halls, crisp night air, muffled carols, gentle misrule, warm charity. Let the winter's hush enfold you. Feel hearth's embers glow in your bones. Allow your eyelids to rest as the Lord's halls rest. The manor breathes slow now, so may you. The morning mist lifts slowly from the fields as spring returns an awakening, coaxed by lengthening days and warming sun. I rise before dawn, heart tuned to renewal. Cloak still heavy, I step outside and inhale the crisp scent of thawing soil. Everything feels possible again. Fields, woodlands, garden beds, spring lambs. My duties shift, no longer protection from frost, but nurturing new life. According to tradition, the bailiff must rise every morning and survey the woods, corn, meadows, and pastures, and see what damage may have been done. So I do my breath fogging in the air, hope quiet but true. Spring brings the cycle of sowing. The manor operates on a 3-field rotation. One field fallow, another with winter wheat, now one ready for peas, beans, or oats. I walk along the field edges. Furrows lie dark and mellow. My staff taps soil. It's soft and giving. Winter's sleep is ending. I check fences, gates, stones left over, frost any small damage in need of repair. Then I kneel for soil tasting sweet, moist, ready to receive seed. Men stand nearby with bags of legumes. I nod. Today we will sow spring crops. Peas that will climb wooden stakes, oats for barn stores, beans for bread mix. I guide them, sow evenly. Watch furrow depth. Leave walkways between strips for later husbandry. Their tools hum softly against earth. My presence is steady guidance, no command, only calm stewardship. After sowing, I call for lime spreading, marling, to add mineral richness to tired fields. Carts arrive with chalk. I oversee dusting across furrows. We wear light cloth masks to soften inhalation. Next, barnyard manure from folded sheep and stable straw is spread. I watch that spreaders deposit evenly, not in clumps. Each handful of earth nurtured might later feed a family. I record treatments in ledger, field names, marling date, manure weight, team responsible. A bailiff's care during spring defines yield, livelihood, and community trust. Spring also awakens the manor gardens. I wander between raised beds beside hall beds, once bare, now poke green shoots of herbs, parsley, kale, flowering onions. Their presence is lifting, seasoning both food and mind. I gently turn soil, remove weeds. I note, herb bed weeded, parsley thriving, dill to sow next. All small deeds lined in journal. Nearby woodland coppice yields willow and hazel for stakes. I oversee cutting thin rods to support beans. Coppicing is renewable. Cut, regrow, cut again. I nod to woodward. Willow well tended, next coppice scheduled in 5 years. Spring's renewal is deeply ecological. Fields fed, woodland arranged, gardens prepared. Spring melt flows in brooks, banks may collapse. I walk stream edges. Last winter's high water may have weakened banks. I look for silt buildup and erosion. I call watermen to repair stone stands and clear debris for fish and irrigation. I realign boards on footbridge. Select stones for stepping. We walk boundary hedges together. I test hawthorn, elder stems for bud life, a sign of readiness. The hedges will be laid soon to enclose fields yet again. In spring, managing water and boundaries reflects good stewardship. Under a newly leafed oak, I sit, staff in hand, eyes closed. Birds trill overhead. I breathe deep. The air smells of promise earth, blossom, sap. I open my journal. Record spring steps, fallow field sown, marling done, herb beds weeded, boundaries surveyed. I set intention for next tasks. Sheep grazing rotation, spring lambing inspection. In these moments beneath living green, the bailiff sows structure into the awakening world. Let your breath rise like green shoots. Feel tender warmth return to chest. You have walked spring's awakening, freshly turned furrows, marled earth, new shoots, flowing streams. Allow hope to uncoil within, like a bud opening in sun's first touch. The day concludes as twilight weaves gold into violet. I step from my chamber into the courtyard. Lantern light glows gently against stone. A final breath curls from my lips in the chill. Night has arrived with quiet authority, a soft declaration of rest. Winter, spring, summer, autumn nightfall arrives on schedule, unaffected by season. But tonight, as bailiff, I walk a final circuit, offering respect to pathways, animals, and hearts prepared for rest. Roles that began with dawn now find closure beneath moonlight. I pick up my lantern, its soft glow steady. In the hush, I become something gentle, a keeper of calm. Among these grounds, my responsibilities shift from action to presence, from doing to holding what land and people have shared. I visit the barn first. Doors creak softly as I step inside. The horses stand content and breathing evenly. Old Bramble greets me with a gentle nicker. I pat his flank. Rest well, friend. I run hand along his shoulder. Nearby, calves in their low stalls shift as I pass. I check their bedding dry straw layered for comfort. Everything is calm. No restless whinnies, no rough breaths. Sheep rest in the fold wool heavy with evening mist. I walk the perimeter, check that boards hold firm and lantern light casts no shadow of weakness. I call to the shepherd. All secure? He nods, eyes tired but steady. Before leaving, I whisper a blessing over each stall. Warmth, peace, grace upon gentle beasts who carried day's weight. Outside, I secure the stable door. A night wind sighs through the rafters. I pause beside the threshold, inhale the cool air, and exhale peace descending. I move through the manor's outer corridors. Gates closed for day's end, barns locked, cottages dark. I check each door latch. Quietly, I walk the walls. In the great hall, candles along beams are nearly spent. I leave only one lit by the hearth. Long wick meant to guide late wanderers. I stand near steeple's shadow under elm, hand on rough bark, and inventory quiet. Closed doors, hushed yards, distant hoot of owl. Walls and lights stand vigil, and the bailiff ensures nothing is forgotten. I walk to barns and storage sheds, once more fill oil lamps in case needed overnight. A drop of oil here, a wick trimmed there, tiny acts of continuity and care. Locks in place, lights ready. I step back to courtyard, heart resting along with walls. With lantern light guiding me, I reach my desk. Ledger lies open, awaiting the day's final entries. I write. Nightfall circuit completed. Barn, sheepfold, gates, lamps. Fields rest, feeds in barn sufficient. Doors secure. Lanterns lit, each word's placed deliberately. Each note is calm reflection of care, continued through dusk. I close ledger, tie ribbon around it. I place it next to tomorrow's quill. No more entries tonight, its weight held until dawn. Then I sit a moment in silence, cupped foot, hands resting. I steady breath. Today circled exactly as I began responsibilities seen through, hearts trusted, land held. At center of courtyard, I set down lantern. I place my hand on stone of central hearth. In that simple touch, I whisper thanks to land, to people, to life shared under this manor's care. I breathe in chill air and exhale gratitude. My work as bailiff remains, but tonight it pauses. I am both sentinel and guest keeper of cycles, but also their witness. In medieval days, bailiff was lord's man watching land, collecting rents, executing court orders, always in service and presence. And so tonight, I honor that tradition in stillness. I lift lantern and walk through archway that leads to my chamber, a place to rest, to lay down title and ledger. I linger at threshold, look back to courtyard glimmer, and say softly, good night. As I close chamber door, candle lights dance on plaster walls. I set lantern on floor and remove cloak and boots. I inhale the wood smoke and cedar scent of door. I open window just slightly. Night air drifts in earthy, soft. I settle into bed. No louder thoughts interrupt. Only warmth in blanket and calm in heart. I close eyes. Every furrow, every gate, every sheep stall folds into memory. I release thought to midnight's hush. This farewell is gentle. We rest. The manor rests. My watch becomes their peace. Now, dear listener, breathe long and still. You have wandered dusk's halls with me, pledged evening peace to beasts in barns, closed the manor circuit with careful presence. Allow your breath to slow. Release shoulders, soften brow. Let final lantern glow settle within your mind. Our journey is complete. Let this night hold you gentle. May your sleep be restful. May your dreams be calm. Good night.